All right, I'll go ahead and get started. We'll let others come in as we go. Today, we're going to have our contest training. We're in contest season. And the last training we did the functionaries. So we'll talk about all the functionaries today. We're going to talk about the chief judge. And first, we'll talk about the contest chair and contest master. What you see before your screen is Plan Your Speech Contest, a guide to contest chairs. Before I go to the next slide, I want to ask you all a question. Is a contest chair and a contest master the same person? Is the contest chair and the contest master the same person? In
No.
the chat, you can say yes, thumbs
Oh,
up, if yes, or
sorry.
thumbs down, no, if you respond in the chat. So can I see? Yeah, could be. Oh, okay. All right. So let's see. Let's get your answer. This is the contest chair responsibilities. The contest chair plans and organize the contest. So they're the head planner of the contest. They appoint the chief judge and the contest master. That's part of your answer. Appoints any support roles, such as a sergeant at arms or the Zoom master. They choose table topic questions when it's relevant for the table topic contest. They recruit test speakers for the evaluation contest. They appoint committees to help plan the event if they want to get a group together and go that route. This is important. They confirm contestant eligibility. So it's on there. They have the honors to make sure that contestants are eligible. And they invite dignitaries and guests. Is that right? Contest chair. All right. Contest chair duties. They determine date and time and the venue. So that goes into the planning of everything. Determines the budget. If you're having an in-person contest, whether it's a club level, you have to do it for area level, you have to have a budget. Are you going to have refreshments? Are you going to have to print material? Or do you have to pay money for the space you're going to be in? Also distribute the material, the rules, the eligibility forms, profile forms. Also help publicize and promote the contest. So it's really the brains that help orchestrate that. Don't have to do it all themselves, but definitely make sure it's happening and have a team and other people help support the contest. Obtain certificates and awards, refreshments, whatever they're going to have at the contest. The contest chair also briefs contestants. And this one says it include the contest master. So when it's time to brief the contestants, that's the contest master that does that. Collects the eligibility forms, whatever they have to sign, the speaker profile forms, all this information, the contest chair is gathering. Another important thing is to review the contest rules. If the contest master is looking at, is this contestant eligible to compete? The contest chair, has to know the rules. Also, this last one here, they draw for speaking orders. So when it comes time to who's going to speak first, it's the rock, paper, scissors is actually whatever the contest chair deems for drawing for the speaking order. This slide basically says the contest chair presides over the contest, welcomes the audience, states the protocols, ground rules of the contest, and introduce the contest toastmaster. This is a repeat. As we said earlier, addressing the eligibility.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Since they look at who's eligible, they address any eligibility protests with the affected contestants.
You can't get this ball.
And if there's any speech protests, that's deferred to the chief judge. Announces disqualifications and announces the winners, third place, second place, and then first place.
Even Mark got it.
Is that?
Even you got it.
I think we got I'll see if I can mute that. There we go. Now, contest master duties works closely with the contest chair. So we just talked about the contest chair. Now this is the contest master. The contest master works closely with the chair and the chief judge and the Zoom master. The contest master attends briefings, recognizes any dignitaries, and introduces each contestant clearly by name, speech title, and name. Ask for 1 minute of silence between speakers, as well as ask the sergeant of arms to do the duty of escorting contestants out. The contest master also interviews contestants and present participation certificates. Any questions so far on the contest chair and contest master duties? Let me look in the chat, see if they contest master like a okay. Contestant eligibility rules. Can anyone give me one rule that they know that a contestant has to be eligible to speak? Do you have to have how many speeches done? Anyone know?
3.
3? Okay. Oh, and chat, we have, I think it's Tamara, paid dues and level 2. Okay, very good. How do we get this right here? Okay. Must be a paid member of a club. That's the first thing. It has to be, you have to be a member of a club in that area, division, and district. The club must be in good standing. So you can be a paid member, but your club has to be in good standing. New, dual, or reinstated members must have membership application and dues current with headquarters. For the international speech contest, you must earn levels 1 and 2 certificates in any pathway or project, or earned a DTM in either pathways or the legacy program. Is waived for charter members. So that's one's waived for charter members of new clubs who have chartered less than a year before the club contest. Now, this is very important. We had a few issues last year with this one. Must maintain eligibility at every contest level from start, or will be disqualified. So you must be eligible to compete at every level. Last year, I think we had someone who kind of was in question at the club level because they hadn't completed the level 2. By the area, they had completed level 2, everything was in, and then it was a question put forth when we looked, and they had finished doing their speech by the time the club level had started, but the paperwork hadn't been submitted. So make sure everything is done by the time of the club level date is important, or they could be disqualified, even if they're ready by the area. Okay. Speech contest closeout. It's not over until it's over. What has to happen? What has happened is a debriefing occurs with the chief judge and other officials. The chief judge has to submit the notification of winner form so that the next level will have all the information and eligibility and profile forms. Make sure the winners receive their awards and all bills have been paid. That No one leaves without paying. No one leaves with their receipt without paying. Last, gathers the receipts and submit expenses for reimbursement. So make sure if you have receipts and if there is a reimbursement process, keep those receipts. You want to get paid. Next, these are frequently asked questions. And these questions come up quite frequently. This is how many people are needed for a speech contest? That's a valid question. The answer is about 12 to 15. You want your contest chair, you want your chief judge, you want your contest master, Zoom master if you're online, your sergeant at arm is necessary for evaluation or table topics contest. Voting judges, this is where you get a lot of questions at. It says 5 at club and area levels, unless it's impractical. 7 at division and district. You want 1 tiebreaker judge. So this judge is secret. No one knows about it. I think the only person that knows about who the tiebreaking judge is the chief judge himself or herself. Timers, 2 timers at all contest level and in the district, unless impractical at the club level. Ballot counters, you want 2 unless impractical at the club level and 3 at the district level. Any questions about that? How much time is needed to run a contest? In-person contest is usually 60 to 90 minutes. If you all been at any contest and observe, it depends on how many people are competing. It also depends on if it's during normal club meeting time. If it's during a normal club meeting time, I had a club contest at a normal meeting, and that was about an hour. This one, the third bullet said includes a break between the 2 contests for ballot counting, so that adds more time. Online contests may take 90 minutes with all the tasks that has to go on with counting the ballots and how the communication goes back and forth and managing efficiency. What else? Another frequently asked question, is there a checklist for managing a contest? That's a very good question. There is a checklist. There's one in the contest rule book. There's a D103 template for planning and conducting contests. And there are other resources. We also have a spreadsheet that I'll show you at the end that has all of the documents that you would need. The links are all in the Excel spreadsheet. And there's also a checklist of the different functionary roles, dates, and times, which is really cool. This question is, can club members serve in multiple functionary roles? That's a good question. I got that question last year as well. There's not a specific rule that prevents this for club level contests. Rule 5.8.10, a contest official must not serve in more than 1 role for the same contest at area, practical, division, district, and more advanced levels. And basically making sure that the functionaries can remain focused on what their job is and not be divided is one way to look at it. These are the resources we talked about. I'll give the spreadsheet that that'll give all the different document links in one place, which is really cool. So with that, does anyone have any questions about contest chair, contest master? If not, I will switch over to the chief judge slide. And that'll mean I have to minimize this one. There's 2 different ones. Whoops, I think I didn't start on the top here. And you can stop me at any time if you have any questions. Let me check the chat to see if.
There is one question. Says, this is from Anthony. It says, can two club work together and have one speech contest?
Can two clubs work together and have one speech contest? The areas, two area work together, so I don't think there's a rule against two clubs working together. How about, what do you think, Valerie?
Yeah, so you can have a joint club contest. So that's okay. Yeah, it's just that they're all gonna be on different sheets. You just have to make sure you put the names of the club and whoever their contestants are for each contest. But you can have a joint club contest.
Okay. All right. So let's jump right into the chief judge. Before we get that, if you don't know, this is the speech contest for the 2024-2025 year. The contest types, oops, I didn't change this. This is from last year. The contest types is actually table topics, right, Valerie?
Yes, it's table topics this year.
Oops. Slid that right in there. So international speech contests and table topics, this is the schedule for club. We're right in that season, October the 1st through December the 31st. Areas, January the 27th through February 28th. Division, March 1st through April 1st. And our district contest, April 25th through April 26th. Chief Judge responsibilities: to coordinate with the contest master and Zoom master if online. Recruit judges and functionaries. Brief the voting judges, the tiebreaker judges, and the other contest functionaries. That is the chief judge responsibilities. Formats, we talked a little bit about this at the beginning with some. At the club level, it can be in person, online, or hybrid. The area must hold a speech contest in person, and a division level must hold speech contests in person. I think the great conversation that happened a little bit earlier, someone was talking about people who are part of clubs in different states or different countries. Even if they participate in the club online, they have to be notified that they have to be in person at the area division. So that would limit some people if they can't fly in to the area or be present at the division. So that was a good conversation in the beginning. Club speech contest option 3A. That basically says that a club can choose an area contestant any way it wants. If, let's say, the club's not able to hold a speech contest or doesn't hold a speech contest, it can choose contestant. If a contest is held, they must follow all the rules. So they can't do a contest and like, oh, we want to pick someone else. If you have a contest, then you must follow all the rules and all the results are final. This last one just saying one club member can compete in either contest, and you can have the same club member compete in both. You can have one person compete in both the international as well as the table topics. Any questions? This is briefly what the chief judge primary responsibilities are when preparing. A little bit was on that earlier slide up top, which was coordinating with the chair, recruiting functionaries, reviewing the rules. Chief judge has to know the rules, preparing the contest forms. And then briefing the judges, the functionaries, confirm the judge eligibility, confirm that the judges are eligible. Brief all functionaries and their duties. Supervising, must collect the timesheets when the contest is over and the ballots at the contest. If there's any protests, taking care of that. Overseeing the ballot counting, make sure that that's happening. Provide results and any disqualifications to the contest chair. Planning. Preparing for the contest. This, number one, is very, very important as far as communication, planning with the contest chair on the personnel, the activity, there's just talking together, how things are gonna go, how things are flow. The communication will be seen, the great communication will be seen throughout the contest, and communication that's not so great will definitely show up in the contest as well. Recruiting contest judges. We touched on this a little bit earlier. At least 5 at the club level, like I said, is practical. Area level, equal by club if practical, and at least 7 at the division. So it's division and district level, equally by subunit. So this is basically, if you can have judges equal to each division, or each judge, when you have the district level, you want a judge from each division. But and that's if it's practical. If you can't have that, at least that, then have other qualified judges in the rule book states. You want one tie-breaking judge at any contest level. We also talked about this bullet about recruiting the functionaries, the timers, the ballot counters, and preparing for material we spoke about earlier. Any questions? Let me check the chat. Clarify, one person cannot compete in both contests. At the one person, that was just confusing the way it stated. That I meant one person can compete at least one, like one person can compete, one person from the club can compete in the international and in the table topics contest at the area level. Next question is a tie-breaking judge, including in the 5, or is the 6th or 8th judge? That's, yeah, the tie-breaking judge is in addition to. At least 5 club, at least 5, at least 7, one tie-breaking judge each contest level. Yeah, the tiebreaker is in addition to, outside of that. And again, the at least 5, so at the club level, it's saying if practical. If you don't have that many people at the club or that are competing in your club, having 5 might not be practical if it's just a few people. So it's saying if practical at the club level. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Next it says conduct judges briefing. And in that the chief judge does the judge's briefing. The chief judge wants to make sure that each judge submits an eligibility form and that the form is signed. The chief judge wants to make sure that the ballot forms, everyone has the proper ballot forms. They want to make sure that they review the speech protest procedures and include ballot counters in these judges' briefings. They want to brief the tie-breaking judge separately, so no one knows who the tie-breaking judge is. Brief the timers, the ballot counters. At the sergeant at arms is if relevant, otherwise the contest chair would brief the sergeant at arms. So basically brief everyone except for the contestants and sometimes the sergeant at arms. Chief judge supervises the contest. oversees the judges, make sure that this is basically summarization of what we just talked about, make sure that the ballots are counted, the ballots are collected. They collect the ballot from the tie-breaking judge without anyone knowing who the tie-breaking judge is, done discreetly. Collects the time records from the lead timer, resolve any protests raised prior to the announcement of winners. Oversees counting, ballot counting process, and provide contest results to the contest chair. These are all things that the chief judge is doing. The chief judge does not just sit back there and with a nice high puffy title, the chief judge is overseeing these things, making sure that the rules are there and that everything is maintained accordingly. Judge eligibility rules. These are the judge eligibility rules. Must be a paid member, club contest level at area, division, and district contests. Must be a paid member for at least 6 months. Earn a level 1 and 2 certificate in the same pathway project. Complete at least 6 CC manual speeches. And division and district contests must not be in the same club as any contestant. So this is important, that division and district contests, the judge must not be in the same club as a contestant. So if there's a contestant on stage who's competing, there shouldn't be a judge from that same club. That was kind of tricky when I was doing the district level contest, finding a judge and making sure that the judge was not in the club of the contestant. You may think that's easy, but if there's a person who's in 3 or 4 different clubs, I have to check to make sure that that person, if they're going to be a judge, none of the clubs conflicted by having someone present. So that was definitely a rule to look after. Handling protests. All contestants have to have originality certificate of eligibility signed. The certificate of eligibility and originality form must be signed by contestants. The rule is 25% or less of the speech may be devoted to quoting, paraphrasing, or referencing another person's content. If a speaker uses that other content, they must identify it during the speech. A contestant cannot reference any other contestant. You cannot talk about any other material speech that any other contestant prior to you have given. If any of those things happen, most likely there can be a disqualification. So they must operate within these contest rules. This is how the protest procedure happened. The protest can be lodged by a voting judge or contestant. That's the only person who could lodge a protest. And they must lodge it by informing the chief judge or the contest chair before the results announcement. That's a very key thing that Toastmasters International look at. It has to be done before results announcement, because after results announced and the club goes to a certain point, all results are final. So we want to make sure these things are happening before that occurs. Process. After someone has lodged a complaint, the chief judge brings all the judges together, explains the situation, and then the contestant gets an opportunity to have a hearing with the judges. The contestant can only be DQ'd by a majority vote from the judges. And how is it pronounced? The judge's decision is final. They notify the contestant of the judge's decision, and they notify the contest chair they notify contest chair, but they don't tell the contest chair name. They just say, hey, we had some disqualifications. Anyone has any questions on disqualifications?
Timing, I'm sorry, it's too late for me to try to type it in. What is the timing of this?
Timing of when they could lodge a complaint.
Well, that too, I think I actually meant when okay, so the contest is going on and then someone lodges a complaint, when is
Mhm.
the announcement made? Before the end of the closing of the contest or at a later date?
No, before the end of the closing of the contest.
Okay,
Yeah. Because the Toastmasters national rule is they when they look at timing, they want that complaint to be lodged before the results are announced, before the the contest is closed out.
So
Because they
pro-
go ahead.
is this protest the only thing that we're talking about being protested is this originality rule?
It could be originality rule. It could be eligibility rule. So this originality rule, this slide right here is the protest of originality or referential rule. Or for someone using the reference. You can also the eligibility of a speaker. If the speaker is not eligible, let's say you understand that a speaker didn't complete level 2, which has happened last year. And when that person said that, one of the voting judges lodged a protest, and they looked into it, and that person was disqualified from ranking. So yes, both of those can be completely lodged. This one is talking about speech originality or referential protest. Okay. We had another question.
Yes. From Amy. So basically, there are speakers speaking, and a judge feels that there should be a disqualification or there's an issue. The judge would then have to get up and talk to the chief judge during the meeting, correct? If you're in person?
Yes, you mean
Or-
like you're asking at what point would the judge communicate to the chief judge that something is like there's a originality or something is a complaint?
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
And so then would the judges or the chief judge have to pull all the judges into another room to discuss that and then maybe bring in the contestant?
yes.
So then there would have to be the contest toastmaster would have to like sing and dance and occupy the time with something when that was going on.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think that'll be a lot of time. So let's say yeah, there would be more time. Because after the speech, this would be after the speech, right? Probably around the time when they're collecting the ballots and they're collecting the judges thing. One of the judges may, whoever's collecting ballots, say, hey, I either write on this ballot or tell them I want to lodge a complaint. The chief judge will listen, and then at that time, he'll bring the judges together, explain this what it is, because now at that time, those judges have to vote, right? That's the whole thing is you get the judges together to make it fair on a vote, so it's not just one person deciding. And then after that, they're going to give the contest. Well, first they'll give the contestant an opportunity to have a hearing with the judges, right? And then
Okay.
they'll vote. So yes, you're right. That'll take some time, more time than normal just counting.
It seems like there's another question here. Solomon, it says, McKinley said, how can you validate the 25% rule of originality?
That's a good question. It comes up every single time. It's like, oh, how do you count 25%? It's based upon the whole speech. You know what 50% of the speech is, because that's what 7 minutes. It's 3.5, right? If it's less than 50, so if it's a quarter of the time they're speaking, in your mind, that's kind of how you're rating that. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule, but you can definitely look at time wise. Time wise is a good thing of how much time's spent on doing something. You definitely know what 50% is. And half of 50, it's you kind of, that's where that 25% comes from.
So here's what I'm on District 77 Program Quality Director. Here's what I would submit to you as judges. We're not supposed to keep time, right? So again, you know, we're judging the context. So again, it's a matter of that. That's I think that's a slippery slope per se, because again, I can say, well, you spoke for 2 minutes on a specific topic where I'm not supposed to really be, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm really not supposed to be timing that individual. So it's, I don't know how we would work around that, Solomon.
Yes, you're correct. So you wouldn't look at your watch. So when I say time, it's more of a visual mental process, right? So if somebody's speaking, even though you're not timing them, you can tell like by the time they go on the story, their introduction, their points, their middle, and their conclusion, within that, you can tell. So let's not say time because you're exactly correct. We should never judge anything based upon time. You're judging based upon the whole speech. Is the speech good, right? As a judge. Within that story, you can tell where things fit. And it's kind of, I think that's a thought process. When you heard the whole story, if a quarter of that story that you heard sounded like it was a lot of quoting, then you could do that, right? Then what would happen is when the contestant come in, the contestant can say, hey, look, I know exactly where my quotes were. They were this, and I did not do this amount of time. Or they can say, oh, there's a lot of things that you're saying, and it sounded like that was either a quote from a president's speech or a song or something popular, right? So you're right, not specifically time, but an idea. Someone's telling your story, the beginning, middle, and end. If it was a fourth of that, that's probably where we are. So thank you for that. We're definitely not looking at time. We had a question, 25%. What does really look at it? Would you confirm qualifications before the contest? Yes. The example of happening was happening once. What can be the example of it happening once? What can be put in place to limit the problem? Yes. Confirm the contestants before. Area directors especially. There's a website too where you can go and confirm if they're qualified. If you can also call Toastmasters International, ask for their education division on contests, and you have to have the person's ID number. I forget what you call this, their ID number, and they can let you know if that person is qualified. But you definitely want to do that before the contest because it's not fair to the person if they get through the contest and then it's found afterwards,
Right.
or it's not found until the next, let's say the division level, then that would be a disservice to that person, letting them go along and then take it
I
away.
asked the question again because you mentioned it that happened in the past.
Yes.
And I'm thinking we definitely, I mean, that's something that's preventable. And so we just really need not have a person on the day of the contest finding out that they're not eligible. And they actually were, but somebody didn't do their job submitting their paperwork, apparently. So
Yes, I mean,
they had you know what I'm saying, yes.
yeah, you talk about the story I mentioned earlier, right? Yeah, that was even sadder because I was talking to the area director at the time, right? So I told the area director, wait, I'm gonna call Toastmasters International because I think there might be something. So I said, wait, Toastmasters International told me if they did their speech and the VP of Education recorded that they had done their speech and the paperwork just hasn't been submitted yet, and they could see in their system where it's submitted, Toastmaster International could have backdated it and submitted it, right? Notice I said I told the area director to wait. The area director come back and say, oh, I submitted it. I said, oh, I was saying wait. So after I talked to TI, I was like, you should have waited. He submitted it, but his submission was on a date afterwards, which means they couldn't, their hands were tied at that point, which made it even worse. But the contestant didn't know that. But yeah. So you always want to get everything on time, and you want to check before. Ballot counting procedure, being ready to resolve a tie vote. So computing contest results. We have counting, we have checking and confirming. Confirming is where in case of a tiebreak, but counting, the judge ballots must be signed to be valid. Make sure the judge's ballots are signed. Ballot counters each have their results on their sheet, the tally sheet. Each ballot is reviewed for the awarded points and compute the total points for each contestant. Checking, this is an important point, where you strike any disqualified contestants off. Ballot counters verify all the totals and refer any ties to the chief judge. So if there are any ties whatsoever, then it goes to chief judge. Enter the winners at the bottom of the tally sheet by total points. Confirming. Now this is where it happens if there is a tie. The chief judge consults the tie-breaking judge. Contestants ranked higher on the tie-breaking judge ballot gains the place. So this is where you get the tie-breaking strategy from. So the contestant ranked highest on the tie-breaking judge's ballot gains that place. Okay? Remember that. We're going to need that in a minute. We have a pop quiz. Chief judge gives the list of top 3 places to the chair in reverse order. Third, second, first. All right, here we go, pop quiz. I know it's getting close to time. We're at almost 7:40, and I'm gonna make you do a little math. So brush the cobwebs off from your long day, and we'll get through this. This is a tally sheet. These are the judges. This is an interesting, very, very interesting tie-breaking situation because, and I don't think I've been at a contest like this. I've been at a contest where you might have one judge and a different perspective than the other judges, but if you look here, you really don't have all judges ranking the same on any contestant, which makes a weird split, right? So then if you look at the totals here, you got the first 2 are tied, then you got the next 3 here are tied, and then you have this lone speaker at the bottom. So that was all the judges. Now you have this tie-breaking judge, and this is what the tie-breaking judge placed. Okay, so this is what it come out to be. You got who's in the first place? You got these 2 in first place. Then you got tied for third place, these 3 here, and you got the bottom. Now there might be a question, where's second place? Well, if you have 2 tied for first place, one of those first place people have to go in second, right? Whoever loses, based upon the tie-breaking judge, will be in second. So that'll cover your second place. Then you got these tied. This is the question, pop quiz question. Who's first place? Who goes in first place and why? Who goes into third place and why? Any takers?
I'll try it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I just have one question or a comment because I can't hardly see the screen.
Okay.
It says Washington and Lincoln are tied for first place.
Yes, right here.
And then I see that tie-breaking judge has Jefferson in first place.
Yes.
So that's neither Washington or Lincoln. So if I go down to which one comes first, Washington or Lincoln, it says Washington is in 4th place, Lincoln is in 5th place.
Yes.
So to me, the first place person would be Washington.
Yes, that's correct. You get the virtual prize of the day because that was the rule that one, let me see if I go backwards. That run rule I says, contest ranked higher on tie-breaking ballot gains that place. So even though the place was it's all the way down here on the tie-breaking judge's ballot because it was highest. So Washington is highest and Lincoln second highest. That put Washington in first, and who automatically gets into second?
Lincoln.
Lincoln. There we go. We got a first and second. Lincoln. Did you want to try who broke the tie for third place?
Jefferson, Monroe, and Jackson. So Jefferson is ranked first on the tiebreaker, so that means that Jefferson would get third place.
There you go. You are wide awake and your brain's ticking tonight. You get the virtual prize.
Virtual
Yay!
prize, what?
Wow.
Unless Valerie knows of anything that we can give. You got well, no, that's good.
Oh, gee.
The first time I looked at this, it was around the same time, and I was like, I don't get it.
You're like, I don't pulling
I'm like,
my hair out that I don't have.
well, and my brain cells, they go to sleep after like 7 o'clock because I'm a
Mhm.
morning person. And then at 7, it's not like they can't work. They're like, you know what? Just wait till the morning if it's really something. But yeah, if you look at the logic, it does make sense. And I looked at that today. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, just like you said it. That was tie breaking. Very good. After the contest, we go through all these qualifications, who's eligible as a speaker, as a judge. We know the contest chair is looking at these things. The chief judge is looking at those things for the functionaries. The contest happens. You're looking at tie breaking, you're looking at disqualifications, you're looking at all these things, you're looking at protests, but the contest is ended. What happens? You attended, got the briefings done, the other officials after the contest, the debriefings. Next, you submit the notification of the winner. Chief judge has to submit that so the next level knows who's coming. Provide the winner with their certificates. Contest master does that. The chief judge sends a personal thank you note to all the judges and functionaries. And look at this, destroy the evidence. It doesn't say that, but destroy all ballots, time record sheets, counters, and tally sheets. The chief judge should do that because Toastmaster holds true, all results are final, right? So make sure once everything is done, you destroy everything. And then last but not least, write up the lessons learned. Well, this is the resource sheet, and I promised you, let's see, can I share that? Do I have it open? I don't think I have that spreadsheet open. But there's a spreadsheet that has all this information in there. I'll make sure that Valerie has it to post a link. It has all the documents, all the ballots, all the forms. It even has a link to the rules, the latest rules for this contest year. And then to the right, it has a template with all the roles, the judges, the functionaries, the time, the date, the places. So you kind of fill it out. And if there's something that's not filled out, you know, there's something still to do as a to-do list. We'll get that to you. So it has all of this is linked on there. One place, everything in one place. We'll get that to you all. Any questions that you have about the chief judge, functionaries? Any questions?
So will we get the slides as well?
Yes. Valerie, can we include the slides, a link to the slides as well? We should be able to. And even if you send me a message, I can get anything to you. Let me put my email in the chat. I did that the last time. Have any of y'all started doing your planning your contest? Or looking for, if you're area director, coming up with ideas of where you would have in your in-person place contests?
I'm looking at a couple of different places. As
Okay.
a division director, my area directors we're looking to at least have them in the specific areas. And then for division, I'm looking at maybe Kennedy King or somewhere around in there because it's right off the expressway. I want to make it convenient where people can get on and off and somewhere central, not so far south either.
Oh, okay, good, good. It's good you're looking ahead because I was talking to Valerie. By the time you get to mid-November, a lot of times people are on holiday, like the Thanksgiving and even some part of the Christmas. And if you're looking to contact a person about a location, the person that needs to answer might not be in town and office or holiday. So that's good. You're looking at that.
Yeah, I'm hoping to. I know the libraries are not open because there's a couple of libraries I'm looking at, but they don't have their calendars open this early yet. That's the only drawback.
Ah, okay. That's a good point.
Yes, so that's the only drawback to that.
Okay. I see Amy says UOP Riverside is doing an online contest Thursday, November 14th. Okay. At 11:30 to 12:30 and needs functionaries. So it sounds like if it's online, you can have functionaries that are online as well. Is that correct, Amy?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's during work days, so we need someone who can be able to do that.
And are you online Zoom or Teams?
Zoom.
Okay. So that's good to know because someone who's working, if they have Zoom, have access to Zoom, it works. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I can send the not only the video, but also the slides, recordings, links to the speech contest recording. You can send the registration. So you want PowerPoint. Okay. I have some people who want PowerPoint presentation. Okay. Good, good. Amy, you got someone in chat. So email me what you need. Can you put
Yay,
your
Tamara, thank you.
Tamara email in the chat?
Yeah,
Very
I'll get a
good.
hold of her.
Cool. So let me ask, does anybody here from, we do thumbs up, hands up, anybody here from the club level who's in the process of contest planning?
So let me just say this, Solomon. So like I said, my apologies. I came in about 15 minutes late. I had a trio meeting, but great presentation. I'm gonna be contacting you offline as well, because again, as the PQD for District 77, one of the things I want to do is make sure that all of our clubs and officers are squared away as far as the contest. So again, a lot of great information that you put out today. So I really appreciate everything that you conducted tonight. I just want to say thank you.
Sure, no problem. And I like you doing that for the clubs and everything, because I know it's sometimes it's a challenge finding the right information, and then it's toward the end of the year, you just getting your club stuff ready, and then you're like, club contest is still on your desk. So yeah, I think that's good. Make sure they have all the all the information they need, and if there's anything that they need in the planning process, taking all the confusion out of it. Very good. Valerie, are you saying something?
My nephew's talking to me.
Oh, okay.
I told him I
I was
was
like, Valerie, you saying something to me? I see your lips moving, but there's nothing coming out. All right. Any other questions?
Quick question to Tamara. What club or clubs are you in?
ABA speakeasies, C22.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, with that, Valerie, would you?
Valerie, can I ask that, and I know some of this information, I'm sure, are going to be shared in, um, I don't know, the loop and all of that other stuff, but what's the easiest way for us to know when contests are going to be held at each level to um, check them out or support functionaries and things like that?
When it comes down to area, because I know that the area directors, I know they're gonna be the ones looking for their functionaries. Now, you talk about the actual dates when they're gonna be happening at club level, or you talk about area and division?
I'm talking about area and division because pretty much club is club. I mean, I guess if you know
Yeah.
somebody in the club, you can, but area, it gets usually more contestants at area and division levels and things like that, just to have a
Okay.
calendar to know, oh, it's happening. So we could say this week, like I did an area visit this week, and this is my first time doing area anything or division anything. So for me to be able to say, this week we're having contests for ABC people, ABC area,
Right.
that type of stuff.
Okay, so I did send out an email to all the area and the division directors to start putting their dates for their actual contests.
Mhm.
And so once you start putting that out, I have never seen it put on our website. I mean, once we know when the area directors and the division directors are going to have their event, then we'll put that on the actual site. But when it comes down to functionaries, that's going to be something that's internal,
Mhm.
where the area directors and the division directors, they have to be talking,
Mhm.
what do they need? Start calling around, start putting out, information that you need functionaries. So you can send emails out to your clubs in your division, letting them know that, hey, we're looking for a timer, we're looking for ballot counters. If you don't have enough with your, I mean, not for area, I mean, I'm thinking of division directors, but if you're area director, reach out to your clubs, let them know you're having an area contest, and just let them know that they could contact you. You could put like a Google form together and send that out to your VPEs.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then, but once we have your dates secured, that's going on to the website for the attendees and anyone that's a functionary to start registering, because you have to have an Eventbrite link. Yeah, so if you have an Eventbrite account, make sure you have your Eventbrite, all that's going onto your spreadsheet. And then the PR team will make sure all that information is put on the D103 website, so everybody know about your contest.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I put my hand up. And I hate
Go
to
ahead.
throw rocks or anything like that. So last year, we were having our contests, and one of the things that the chief judge did was, I think, and I could be wrong, Solomon, that if you have an area, let's say for example, it has 4 clubs versus 5 clubs, you can submit 2 names to compete. Are you aware of that? Where you normally would send, your one person from the club, right, where you can send 2 to compete, right? So did you talk about that? Valerie shaking her head. You know where I'm coming from, Valerie, as far as the
Yeah.
number of participants. Yes.
So
You go ahead.
the rule you talking about is if you have 4 clubs instead of 5, and you can submit a certain number of people from there. I think that's that special rule. And I don't think that rule that rule was there, I think a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago. We may have talked about it last year. No, they didn't enforce that rule last year, if I'm correct. I know they had it prior and they were doing that. Now, the only thing is if you are a club and you don't have a contest, you can submit to the area. But the rule you're talking about, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think it's 5A or 3A, rule, and they didn't adopt that last year, and because it was complicated. People people asked a lot of questions about it. But yes, I know what you're talking about. But that's that rule I didn't talk about today because it wasn't adopted. Yeah. Valerie, did you have anything else to add on that particular rule? I know you're in the
Oh, no, you said it just right, because I know
Okay.
in our club, when we only had one person that was competing, but what we do is we allow them to compete so they know what it's like to compete at club level. You know, so they can practice their speech in front of people and then keep within time, especially if they're international speech contestant. And then we're still gonna move them through, even though they're competing, you know, because we have like tabletop, we have like 6 people competing for that, but they'll be the only one. But we'll allow them to compete, even though they're not competing against another person.
Okay. Well, thank you for that question. Anyone else? Any questions you can think of?
Could you repeat that? So if a club does not hold a contest, they can just send one name?
They can send a person to international to compete in international contests, and they can send. I think you can send someone to compete in the table topic contest.
So you could send 2 contestants, one for each
Mm-hmm.
category. Okay.
Yeah, or you can send one who's going to compete in both. Or
Okay.
one of the contestants can compete in both.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Anything to add on that, Valerie?
No, but then it's all good.
Fact checking my answers. Don't want it to go out on a video and oh, he said that. Very good. So if I put my email in the chat, let me see if it's still at the bottom. I'll put it at the bottom again. If you all have any questions, anything comes up, because there are some questions that come up that even sometimes I have to take a second to think about it. So if you have that, feel free to shoot me an email. And like I said, Valerie will send things to post. But if you want something like that Excel spreadsheet with all the links to the documents, it's very conveniently there. And that send me a email, and I'll send it to you if you have any questions. With that, I'll leave it. Valerie, any parting words on this Thursday afternoon? I think we're going to go ahead and before our heat wave tomorrow. If some places supposed to get hot tomorrow. So any
Good afternoon. Is that intentional?
did I say afternoon again?
Yeah.
Good evening. Any
What's
parting
up?
words from
You're so
Valerie
funny.
before we hit our heat wave tomorrow? I think it's supposed to be
Oh.
80 something, 87.
Wow, that's gonna be hot.
Well,
So
I
I
think it's the last one, so you want to definitely go outside and enjoy it, because next week it's going to be for sure fall.
Yeah, so I will say, you know, to everyone, you know, plan a really great like club contest. Of course, you can have that online, but for our area directors, division directors, if you have any questions, you know, just give us, you know, just send an email. If you need functionaries and you know you have questions about that, just feel free to contact the district, because you're not alone, because this is the first time we're doing this since 2019. But the most important thing is planning. I'm a big planner. I love planning ahead, and you know, get your agenda together. If you don't have a agenda template, you know, we'll have that for you, but start putting that together now. So when those contestants are coming over, all you have to do is put it into your agenda and you'll be ready. But again, like Solomon said, we have the spreadsheet with the contest links and everything that you need to plan for a contest. So if you have any questions, just let us know. And then when it comes to budgets for area and division, I will be talking to Sandra Lane tomorrow because we do need to get that email out to you all on how much you can spend for your area contest and your division contest. And then we'll let you know how you'll get reimbursed. So that's something that's being talked about right now, but we just want to let you know you do have a budget for refreshments and things like that. That's all I have.
Well, thank you so much, Valerie.
You're welcome.
I don't know if you see my screen I'm sharing now, but is it sharing?
Yep, let's share it.
Oh, you can see it. Okay.
Yep, I can see it.
The spreadsheet. So yeah, that's the spreadsheet I was mentioning with all the links. If you click on any one of the links to any of the roles or the forms, it's all there. And even the reference links, the rule books and the kits and everything is in here. And then a little template where you put the dates, the times, any links, roles, names, addresses, and you can see what you fill out. And if there's something that you don't fill out, you know, hey, I got to do that. Well, that's it. Like I said, if you have any questions, send it over. Ask if you want anything, send it to my email. But I will end it here if no one has any other questions. And thank you all for coming out. Appreciate you being a part of this training. And we wish you the best luck in an awesome contest season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Right. Great job, Tamira.
Great job. What I do? Thank you, Betsy.
You know you did. You did the math. The rest of us. was like,
all the math. I'm like,
"Duh."
I'm like the math. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.